Listen to this podcast now
on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Leadership Thread with Dr. Peggy Polonis.
I'm Dr. Peggy Polonis. Join me on each episode where I unravel the story that shaped leaders, tracing the thread that led them where they are today. Because leadership isn't born in adulthood. And thank you once again for joining us on the Leadership Thread, education, ethics, and sustainability.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Mike Eruzione was the captain of that amazing team that beat the Russians and beat the Finnish and won the gold 46 years ago up in Little Lake Placid. Mike joins me basically every year. We talk once a year. This is it. I feel like I know Mike, and I do my whole life. So, Mike, Sid Rosenberg in New York, my friend. Welcome back. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Sid. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. We're getting set for the Olympics tomorrow night, and, I've decided to kind of jump in. I do it all the time. The hockey team is my favorite during the Winter Olympics, and I'll root for the soccer team, too, when we get to the World Cup action coming up this summer. And I was never really like that before you guys. I think your hockey team made me more patriotic towards sporting events like the Olympics and the World Cup. I think a lot of folks probably feel like me, Mike.
Well, it's different than any other sporting event, and I've said this. I've been doing so many interviews lately. I hope I didn't repeat myself, but I've said this for a long time. Other than being a police officer, a firefighter, or someone in the military who protects and serves our country, there's no greater feeling than putting on a USA jersey.
Oh.
You're not playing for New York or Boston. You're not playing for a World Series or a Stanley Cup or a Super Bowl. You're playing for an Olympic gold medal that represents your country. And I think that's what separates the World Cups and, Olympic Games from other sporting events. And I think we take great pride in putting on that USA jersey. And I think people that follow the sports, whether it's the women's sports or the men's sports, in games that you put the USA jersey on, you feel a part of it. People come up to me today, and it's 40-something years later, depending on their age. They'll say, I remember where I was when Kennedy was assassinated. I remember where I was when the Challenger blew up.
Yep.
I remember where I was on 9/11. And I remember where I was when we won. And I always go, we. I didn't know you were on the team. But that's what those moments mean to people, because it's not one town or city. It's your country, and that's different.
And that's true, because I said the same thing at 6 o'clock this morning. And I mentioned all those other events, too. Mostly bad. Yours was great. So you heard that goal you scored against Russia, Mike. What a huge goal. They were just talking about how your teammate there, Jim Craig, who was so magnificent in the goal. And we all remember that Jim Craig wrapping the American flag around him when we won the gold. His dad right there, just an amazing moment. But does that feel, Mike, like 46 years when you scored that goal against the Russians?
Yeah, to some degree. I think, I've always felt as a team, everybody's going to do something in order to win. And I was fortunate to put my team in a position to, I had myself in a position to score a goal to give us the lead. If Mark Johnson doesn't score his 2 goals during the game, we might not be having this conversation. And
by the way, Mark Johnson also scored a big goal the following game against Finland when you guys won the gold.
Mark Johnson scored a lot of big goals during the Olympics.
Yep.
But if we don't beat Finland, we're not having this conversation either. So many players, so many of my teammates did so many things throughout the games that put us in that position. Billy Baker scored arguably the biggest goal of the Olympics.
Agreed.
When he scored for us to tie Sweden 2-2. So I think when you look at great sporting events and moments, it's not one player or 2 players. It's, in our case, it was 20 players and coaches and trainers that, put this whole thing together. So, I think that's what I cherish more than anything. The goal was a goal, and it was great to do it. But, if we don't beat Finland, who cares about my goal?
That's right. No, it's true. We had a bunch of those guys here in New York. Kenny Morrow went to the Islanders. I hate the Islanders, but he won 4 Stanley Cups. God bless him. And my Rangers, we had Davey Silk. We had Mark Pavlich. God rest his soul. I know him and Wells have passed away since. He was a terrific Ranger. We also had Rob McClanahan, who scored a big goal against Finland. And, of course, we had the coach, Herbie Brooks, who angered me because he traded Ron Duguay, but I still loved Herbie, and of course, you're laughing, it's true.
And you had Billy Baker for a short period of time.
We did, that's right. But the bigger question is this. Here we are again, 46 years later. Trump is talking about Iran today, right? I mean, there's a big meeting tomorrow to take place. The Armada is there, and there you guys are playing hockey right after the Iran hostage crisis with Iran. Not long after that, Reagan told Gorbachev, tear it down. It was very similar. The only difference is patriotism is at all-time low with Jimmy Carter and with President Trump. You don't have to talk about this, okay? I will. With President Trump, a lot of us are very, very proud to be Americans, but we've got issues that he's working on. Did you guys even realize as young kids how much you were really playing for? What was at stake for this country, or were you just playing hockey?
Well, we were just playing hockey, and I say that because it's not like today. There was no social media at that time. We didn't know. We were in a little village in Lake Placid playing a hockey game. We knew people in Lake Placid were excited. I knew my family and friends at home were excited. But, there was no Twitter. There was no Facebook. There was no Instagram. There were 3 TV stations. So we didn't know. We didn't realize until after the Olympic Games were over. We went to the White House. We beat Finland on Sunday. We went to the White House on Monday, and when we were driving and the bus taking us to the White House, the streets were lined with people, 3, 4, 5 rows deep, waving a flag, singing the Star-Spangled Banner. And we went, oh my God, this thing's pretty big. Yeah. and we could use a 1980 now. We could use one of those moments, not for us or our team. It's what we did is over, but we could use that shot in the arm that make people realize why we live in the greatest country in the world and appreciate what we have. And I think our team kind of reflected that. I think people related to us. We weren't, guys making a lot of money. Well, we weren't making any money. We were playing for the love of the sport and the love of our country. And I think people saw that. They saw the smiles. They saw the enthusiasm. And, if you were watching the game on TV, you hear the USA chants. That's when it first started.
Yeah.
So I think people rallied behind it because everybody was tired of getting kicked in the ass and they needed something. And then along we come.
But it won't be the same. Look, I mean, again, I'm all in here, and I know a lot of these players because I'm a big hockey fan, Ranger fan, and Jack Eichel's a really good player. We've got Austin Matthews, a Maple Leaf, who scores a lot of goals. He's our captain, but they're pros. At the end of the day, we've got a guy that won the Vezina Trophy last year. You guys were kids, so even if we win the gold this year, and I still think that when Canada skates out McKinnon and Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid on the same hockey team, that's not even fair, right, Mike? That's not even fair. But we got a chance, but the truth is, these are pros. You guys were kids.
Yeah, but they still represent us. They still represent America. They still represent the United States and USA Hockey. So, yeah, the games have changed. Hey, life's changed a lot since 1980. So, if that's what it's going to be, that's what it's going to be. And I think this is the best team we've ever put on the ice.
Agreed.
I firmly believe this team is talented. They're deep. Yep. Their goaltending is awfully good. Canada's loaded, like you said, and we saw that at the Four Nations. But you saw how Binnington played, the goalie for Canada. He was unbelievable in that game, and that's what can make the difference. But I'm excited for this team. I had a chance to be at the Four Nations. I know a lot of the players. We got 5 Boston University players playing on the team where I work and where I played. So I'm excited about this team. I think this is the year we can do it. And as I told them at the Four Nations, I said, do me a favor and win a gold medal, and people will leave our team alone. It's over. It's ended.
Yeah, but let's be honest. I used to do sports talk down in Miami, Mike, for a lot of years, 16 years. And any time a football team started the year 12-0 or 13-0, you're laughing, the story became, hey, are you going to be the second team like the 73 Dolphins? And they would talk to Bob Greasy and, Larry Zonka, and they would go, oh, no, we're rooting for these guys. The truth is they rooted against them every play of every game. So while you're being nice and saying, let's get it, come on, Mike. There's something cool about being the last.
150% you're wrong.
I believe
we want this team to win.
I believe you.
It's not going to change our lives. It's not going to change what we did. If anything, it'll bring our story back because they'll say, hey, remember the last time we won a gold medal?
Right.
So,
You're right.
Like I said, I know these guys. I know a lot of them. And I know how they feel about it. They've all said it. They've grown up watching Miracle, and then they watch the the Netflix special. So they see what that moment was, and they want to be a part of it. They want their names up there along with ours, and I would love to see it.
Kurt Russell, I think, played Herb Brooks in Miracle, and then who played you? I forgot.
Just a kid from Boston, a kid named Patrick Dempsey. He played hockey at the college level. What they did in the movie Miracle, which was great, was they hired hockey players to teach to act rather than actors to teach to play hockey. So all these guys played at the college level, and they were all really good players. So the hockey scenes in Miracle were really good because these guys could play.
They could play.
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and busts. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.